Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project with Brainstorm, a weekly web-based radio show podcast from the KGSS Geek Street Society radio studios deep in Aurora, Colorado. Studio lines are now open, 1-855-303-GEEK, 1-855-303-4335. Hit me up on Facebook at Cannabis Community Project, or go directly to my webpage for all the detailed information, www.cannabiscommunityproject.com. I want to thank you all for joining us as we go into the new year with a bunch of new shows lined up, all exploring the business side of the newly emerging Colorado economy. This is not your son's stoner show. We're here to focus on the business of the cannabis industry while living the lifestyle. We're going to have a little fun. We're here to highlight the patient, the user, the retailer, to the geek in the garage creating the next innovation in cannabis. Talking about technology and startups. Here in Colorado, we're sitting on the next U.S. Industrial Age 2.0, the day after hemp came to town. We are the media platform, the first one to help our fellow cannapreneurs in building sustainable business models within the Colorado cannabis community. Like many, I just wanted to be involved, creating the new American industry. Cannabis, get used to it. If you have an idea, a business, perhaps just some thoughts that you'd like to share, give me a call, 1-855-303-GEEK, 1-855-303-4335. Let's discuss the issues at the front of the industry. Everything in the current news, health, legal, food, art, music, growing, technology, innovation, the whole deal. I want to crowdsource this show, make sure together that we're here to discover over 400 different businesses from which one could obtain employment or find opportunity. There's going to be thousands of business opportunities once hemp production begins. Together we can help each other get up and growing or in business and living the life. Imagine just a handful of people and a handful of businesses multiplied by 50 states, 50 countries. We're talking about multi-thousands of jobs. That's what we're going to be doing right here on the Cannabis Community Project. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about your issue, 1-855-303-GEEK. I want to know how you got to be a cannapreneur, how you got into this cannabis business, and how you're surviving. How you can help your fellow cannapreneurs through their process, some tips you can give them. I want to hear your stories. Maybe you have a great business or a great business idea, but you're still struggling. Maybe you're a grower and sales and marketing isn't your thing. Call me. I can help. I have over 20 years of sales and marketing experience, exclusively with small business and niche businesses, or niche, depending on who you're talking to. Let me help you through the basics of marketing, setting up your website, getting your social media in line, laying out your strategy, actively pursuing sales. Just because you're a legal dispensary doesn't mean you're rich, making millions of dollars. In fact, the majority of centers are operating out of closet spaces and struggling to keep the lights on. They are drawn into the common business startup mistake that all you have to do is just open your doors and business will happen. Get your name out there, print up some business cards, some pencils and pens, t-shirts and hats, and just stand out there, and people who are desperately waiting to find you will now know where you exist, and everything is smooth from there on. Common sales mistakes. No different. Just because you're a high-demand business, cannabis, does not mean you get to throw away the fundamentals of sales and marketing and business models. There is money to be made, and there is money being made, but that doesn't mean you're making it or your business will be successful. The idea is if it's a legitimate industry, we might as well get people legitimately employed. Are you formerly a criminal because of pot? Turn it into a cannabis career. That's right, a cannabis career. Let this show help you grow a garden to save money, or take your idea from the garden and grow a business. You know you have an idea. Everybody has a cannabis idea. Everybody has had that same situation, deep in thought, half meditating, and it strikes you, you got the idea. The brilliant idea that's going to turn everything around. This is one industry, the wild frontier, the open west, Colorado, the new emerging economy where new entrepreneurs can come and stake their claim and literally start from scratch with nothing and create something. This is new money in the economy. Economies that we used to live on, many generations. The U.S. economy is connected by many generations of failing economies, failing industries, farmers, manufacturers. Cannabis is actually one of those businesses that can bring back agribusiness. Cannabis can bring back farming with a new edge, farming 2.0, the U.S. economy, agribusiness, updated for technology. The technology of saving water, of saving land, producing higher, healthier yield in plants, and all the derivatives, the thousands of jobs and products and services that can come from cannabis. We have to start thinking different. Doing something different. What has been happening is not working. The fact is, if you're a baby boomer, you were having the same conversation as a kid. Now you are in charge. Make it happen. This is just as much as an issue for those retiring as for those newly entering the workforce. Seth Godin, for those marketers out there, said it best. The industrial age is over, and we're not even in the information age anymore. We're in the cannabis age. Bring back agribusiness and innovation to the American economy. Bring back farming and manufacturing in a 2.0 internet-connected world that is based on a currency right here in Colorado. Cannabis is our currency. Cannabis is our commodity. And it's time to get involved and show the world how to shift that money from jails and courts and all the negative drains on society and shift that over to shops and farms and fabrication, all taxed and positively industrialized. Join me. My name is Brainstorm, and I'm a cannapreneur building a show for and like-minded people just like you. Well, there you go. That was the call to action that they say you should always have in your tribe as a leader, something that unites people and brings them together to a common cause. So I guess if you don't relate to that, then this probably isn't the right show for you. You remember last week we had Luke Chandler on from Reason to Rebel, talked about his touring and about the song that we were so graciously donated, the intro song to our show, Open Up. Well, Luke also, as an activist, had a lot to say about cannabis. Got a quick minute on what he said last week. What is your connection to cannabis? What kind of statement do you want to make?
But what I think, honestly, is that cannabis really has a lot to do with personal freedom, and in terms of the ability of a person to medicate themselves in a way that they find fit for their body, and to not be told that they can't do that by politicians, lawmakers. It's about freedom. It's about you having a choice to do what you want with your body, and nobody should be able to tell you one way or the other. And it's only a matter of time before everywhere it's going to be legal, as it should be.
Absolutely.
The idea of complete freedom to do what you want to do in that regard without hurting anybody it's a wonderful thing, and I think people are going to flock to the state of Colorado for that reason. ReasonsRebel.com.
Appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure. Such inspiring words by Luke Chandler from Reason to Rebel. So nice, had to play it twice. He really articulated in such few words the essence of our show and what we're striving for, the entrepreneur in cannabis, the cannapreneur. And we're going to interview and bring on a lot more people like that, not just the business owners and not just the patients, but also the activists who are out there working to help form the system and make it a better, safer society. Very quickly do this week in news, twin news, but very quickly because we have a slightly extended interview with Joe Growflounder today, talking about entrepreneurship and his life struggles and how he got started and all the businesses he had to go through before he finally found HMO Plus. But real quick, let's not skip the segment. Let's just do it quickly. Twin news. Unless you've been living under a rock? Colorado has legalized marijuana January 1st, 2014. 21 and older can legally walk into a shop and buy marijuana for recreational purposes. And that was the news. Everything you need to know up to the date this week, all cannabis related. We're going to get on to our next segment with Joe Growflounder, one of our very special guests of the show, longtime friend. Joe's an interesting guy, has a lot going on, has a lot of experience, but ultimately ending up right where he started many, many years ago in the beginning. I don't want to get too sentimental about full circle of life and all that, but when you hear about him talking about where he started and what happened to him throughout the life and what it took to get where he is now, it really makes you think about what you are doing now. Where are you? Are you sitting in a cubicle somewhere? Are you behind a computer screen punching out numbers for somebody else? Or are you truly doing what you love? And how much money are you really making? I mean, think about it. At the end of the day, how much money are you bringing home that you can freely spend that's not already wrapped up in some debt or bill? You see, as we mentioned last week, you can be poor and broke on your own. You don't need to work for another company to be poor and broke. But you can choose not to be miserable, at least while you're broke. And that's by working in an industry that you love and something you want to do. And Growflounder, Joe Growflounder, really is the example of that. We talked to him about where he started and all the different businesses he attempted and how he finally came back to this one and put his heart and his money and his life and his marriage and everything into it. And like the seed, metaphorically, that he's growing. Yes, I'm going there. Like the seed, he is growing. He is also a seed growing his own business. And I'm going to help him along. And we're going to talk to him, and we're going to get serious. And because I know him a little bit more personally, I'm going to talk to him a little bit more direct and a little bit more serious. And hopefully you'll be able to hear some genuine conversation that might help you out in your path and give you some inspiration or some insights on what to do with your current situation. Let's take a listen.
Smells so green, and now me too. Boing, 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 boing.
Well, you don't have to necessarily tell a story. You can just talk.
So I guess I've been growing for about 20 years. So yeah, I guess my first real business venture outside of just working for somebody would have been Latin American Travel Tribune, where we developed newspaper for tourists, where to go, what to see, all the cool places to go. We started with a hand-drawn cover, about 12 ads.
Now, were you working down there, or were you just living?
Well, at the time, I was just kind of in between, hanging out. Ended up having a couple kids, came back to Colorado, got a job as an electrician, stayed in that for about 15 years. I kind of find myself getting bored with things after about 5 years or so. So after about 10 years being an electrician, I decided to move on. We opened a jewelry company.
So you went from being a cannabis newspaper advocate in Costa Rica to an electrician to a jeweler.
That's correct.
All right. So you've started a couple businesses. I know you also had a handyman business.
Well, yeah, after my run as an electrician, I opened Joe's Handy Service.
Well, I bring that up because you're kind of an entrepreneur in spite of being, an electrician here and this, that, there. In a sense, you've kind of had a good probably 20-year stretch of trying to start multiple little businesses and pursue things on your own.
Yeah, I guess in that sense, I guess it is. I don't really think of it like that more. I guess kind of just do what I do. When something's going and
T-shirt out of that.
I don't know. Like I said, I get bored easy. So
Frankie says, "Hey,
I just like to jump around. I like to throw down an idea. Let's try it. Everybody can pull something out of a hat. They just think about it a little bit. The ones that make it is the ones that have the balls to do it. Are usually the ones that make it.
So you're an entrepreneur by boredom.
I guess so. Yeah, just even if it's working, I kind of just move on. I was a journeyman electrician. They asked me to get my master's license, and I just after that, everybody says, "Well, why aren't you an electrician? They make a lot of money." Well, just because you pay them a lot of money doesn't mean they make a lot of money.
Right.
Electrical supplies are equipment, and it takes a lot of years to understand fully electronic systems, switches, controls, ballasts, all different kinds of things.
What ultimately would be the perfect career or job or just lifestyle?
I'd like to just get back to the basics. Right now, my wife and I are looking for a couple pieces of property. We'd like to just settle down. I really like teaching. We've come up with this formula to where we can teach people how to grow for themselves so that they don't have the big cost of buying all the equipment and all the stuff you need. It's basically just paying attention to what you enjoy doing, and then anybody that would like to grow should grow. Everybody should grow. I think everybody should grow, and we shouldn't have any laws regarding what we should grow.
Everybody should grow in the sense of obligation, like voting.